The road to the state championship continues tonight. It's quarterfinal Friday, where the field goes from 8 to 4 and will include either the defending Class A champion or the top-ranked team in Nebraska's largest class. It's game time on Your View. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Feynman Field tonight. Bellevue West and Omaha Burke, along with former NFL lineman Chris Bober. I'm Gary Sharp. Chris, let's first start with the defending Class A champion, Omaha Burke. They are 9-1. They lost a lot from last year's unbeaten team, but they're still Omaha Burke.
Yeah, Burke comes in here as the defending state champions, and they're wearing the cape still. They think Bellevue West has to come and take that off them tonight. They lost a game early this year, but they rattled off a lot of wins in a row, and they're playing good football. Haven't really been tested, but they're playing good football coming into this playoffs.
Bellevue West is 10-0. They've been ranked #1 all season long. They're known for their offense, but this year it's all about the defense.
I have to say Bellevue West is all about their athletes. They got athletes all over the field, and wait till you see this defensive line. They are scary up front. Big dudes, very athletic, and they fly around the field.
Let's talk about the top player for Burke. He is a Notre Dame recruit, Xavier Watts. You'll see him at wide receiver. You'll see him at free safety. Basically, you'll see him all over.
Xavier Watts reminds me of Antonio Brown, one of the smoothest, most efficient athletes you'll see in high school football. Watch him high point the ball, unbelievable ball skills, and he is their big player out there. He's got to make plays for them tonight to have a chance.
The big playmaker on the other side for Bellevue West is one of the top recruits in the country, 6'4" wide receiver, headed to Nebraska, Xavier Betts.
Yeah, Betts is another super talent, even measurables off the charts. But Bellevue West has a lot of talent just like him, so they're going to spread the ball around, so you can't focus on just him because they're dangerous everywhere.
Burke and Bellevue West, plenty of storylines, plenty of stars. Kickoff is next. It's game time on Your View.
Game time high school football action on Your View is presented by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Connect online with Iowa Western at iwcc.edu or call 800-432-5852. High school football fans, for more behind-the-scenes coverage, podcasts, interviews, and more, be sure to check out yourview.com all fall long. Okay, player of the game.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Burke, Bellevue West, quarterfinal Friday night. Let's take a look at the keys to tonight's game, brought to you by Woodhouse Auto Family.
All right, coming in, looking into this game, the key for the Burke Bulldogs is they're going to have to run the ball. They're going to have to run the ball because they want to possess the ball and keep this fabulous Bellevue West offense off the field. They have to be assignment sound on defense because Bellevue West has athletes all over the field, and they have to make a few big plays here tonight to turn the tempo of this game. Bellevue West is very talented. If you want to match up with them, it's going to be super hard. Now, over on the Bellevue West side, they need to focus. They have not been in a close game all year long. They have had a running clock almost every game, so they got to focus in on assignments. They have to protect the ball. One of the only ways they're going to let a team in the game is if they get rid of the ball and they have turnovers.
Here we go. Burke won the opening toss. They have deferred until the second half. 40 degrees at kickoff. No real wind to speak of. We shouldn't have any precip. So for this time of the year in the state of Nebraska, it is almost ideal weather. As Colin Urban, who is a soccer star at Burke, only started kicking in football prior to the start of the season, had a game-winning field goal against Omaha North. He will begin the quarterfinals. Along with Chris Bober, I'm Gary Sharp and our entire Game Time crew. The field is at 8. It's already down to 7. It'll be down to 4 before the night is over. And Urban drills a line drive. It is caught at the 5-yard line by Betts. Here's Betts trying to find some room on the outside. He runs like a gazelle with that great speed. And he is out across the 25-yard line. And this is where the prolific Bellevue West offense will start with Nate Glantz. The transfer from Millard West leads an offense that averages 54 points a game. They have scored 72 offensive touchdowns. Glantz, Ducker, Betts, Riley, and more. You're going to look at Jay Ducker, the Northern Illinois recruit in the backfield. He is on the cusp of all-time records in the state of Nebraska. The Bellevue West offense will start at the 26-yard line. The Thunderbirds are 10-0. The Bulldogs are 9-1. And the opening carry for Ducker right up the middle. And he has got a carry of 12 to begin the game. And we talked in the open, Chris, when it comes to Jay Ducker, you've got to be able to tackle him. Teams that have had success against Bell West, they slow that guy down right there.
Yeah, they're very solid up front. They love to run inside zone because they feel like they're technically sound up front, and it's really simple. It's not easy to defend, but it's simple, and they like to get going early as we see them handing the ball off.
We've got the top 2 passers, the top 2 receivers, and 2 of the top rushers in the state of Nebraska. After the Ducker carry of 12, Glantz plays a little pitch and catch and another first down, and that's pretty easy out to Xavier Betts, the Nebraska recruit who hauls it in for the 48th catch, and they'll move the sticks, 2 plays, 2 first downs for Bellevue West against this defense, which has the challenge of stopping all of this skill talent for Bellevue West.
Yeah, it's quite a challenge to match up with these guys. It becomes a lot of one-on-one tackling out there. So that was a pretty good tackle. No big plays.
Little toss to Ducker around the end. He's got blocking up front. He breaks a tackle. He cuts the outside. And he is close to another first down. Yep, they'll move the sticks. 3 plays, 3 first downs for Bellevue West. Again, this offense that averages over 54 points a game. And it's good blocking on the outside and even better vision by Jay Ducker.
Yeah, Bellevue West loves to get their O-line out in space. Great job down there by the big guys blocking. And look at him. He's a little thicker than you think. Breaking tackles, making first downs.
Caden Lynn was out leading the charge. They'll keep it on the ground once again for Ducker. And this is the first time tonight that Bellevue West has run a play and they've not gotten a first down as they ran right into the heart of that Bulldog defense, and a sure-handed tackler, Austin Doherty, comes up with the stop for Burke. Burke this year, they've posted a couple of shutouts. They've been pretty good the last 2 weeks of the season, the regular season finale and then their first-round playoff game against Millard North. Doherty this year now 97 tackles, 2nd down and about 7. Opening drive of the game, Glantz with a play action, fires deep down the field, and it is out of the reach of the intended wide receiver, Xavier Betts. As running stride for stride with him was Trevor Lampkin.
Yeah, I think you automatically assume that they're a big play offense getting the ball down the field, but that's really not what they do. They want to run the ball, and in fact, they track their stats. They actually run the ball 51% of the time, so they're very balanced. They like to keep the defense off balance, and Burke has to show up front to put them in 2nd and 3rd and longer.
Now it's 3rd down and 6. Keegan Johnson in motion. The handoff to Ducker, and he's stopped for a loss of a couple of yards, and there's Doherty coming in to stop Ducker on 3rd down and long, and that sets up 4th down and about 9. A loss of 3 and a stop by the Bulldogs, and the first key decision of the game for Mike Huffman, who usually does not punt the football. He will go for it on 4th down, and he will do so here, 4th down and 9. So the first 3 plays for Bellevue West result in first downs. And now they face a 4th down and 9 at their own 40. As Johnson once again is in motion. And Glantz, a 70% passer, will throw it. It is caught, and it is close to a first down.
He's short.
Nate Sullivan hauls it in, but he is short by half a yard, and Burke holds Bellevue West, and they will get the football as we see the tackle in open field to prevent the first down.
Yeah, it looks like the Burke defender is kind of sitting at the sticks, waiting for them to come up there. And Nate Sullivan, who I played with his dad for 9 years at South and UNO, you know, that receiver's got to push up past the first down marker because he just gave up that yardage, and as soon as he turns around, the defender was on him. He needs to get that route beyond the first down marker.
That's Paul Lamanji, won his first state title last year when the Bulldogs went 13-0, and now they're on offense. And a whistle and a flag before the snap. Jeremy Gilfrey is our referee tonight. Last year, Burke was 13-0. They beat Grand Island
prior to the snap. Dead ball. Offsides. Number 22 on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Retrieve first down.
Jerome Houston.
You know, we talked about the focus. That's one of our keys to the game, that Bellevue West has to focus in on some of these things. These mistakes like this are going to allow a team like Burke to stay in this game. And Burke, they shot their shot. They ran a blitz and got off the field on defense, stopped them on 4th down. Now they're going 1st and 5. This is a great start for Burke.
This is a Burke offense led by a transfer from Creighton Prep, Reed Burke, with Jalen Roussel in the backfield and Xavier Watts split out wide. Roussel will carry it to begin the game, and not much running room over the right side. Maybe a yard, but now it'll be 2nd down and 5. And here is the starting lineup for that very balanced and versatile Bulldog offense. Reed Burke transferred last year from Omaha Creighton Prep. This year, 20 touchdown passes, 2 interceptions. Their whole key is to get it to the playmakers. Roussel, Watts, a good tight end in Queen, and Michael Payne III, who made that 4th down stop to give Burke the football. 2nd down and 6. It was a loss of 1, and Burke puts it up, and his pass is high for the intended wide receiver, Xavier Watts, the Notre Dame recruit, verbal to Notre Dame in the middle of the summer. He is the #1 recruit in the state of Nebraska. You have the 2 top players in the state for the class of 2020, and this is the Bellevue West defense, which they have been a record-setting defense this year, Chris.
Yeah, watch Caden Kamis, number 58. I think he's just a sophomore. They got some unbelievable athletes up here. The Burke O-line has a challenge in front of them. They have to get after these guys because they are fast, they're big, they're tough.
3rd down and 6, and Burke will put it up against pressure, fires it downfield, and it is through the intended hands of the wide receiver, Michael Payne. And even after the 5-yard penalty and the stop by Burke, they will have to punt the football away.
Yeah, and Bellevue West is a little unique where they like to bring number 19, Jack McConnell. This guy leads the state in sacks, and he has 5 interceptions.
Burke will punt the football, left-footed punter, and nobody is back for Bellevue West, so this punt will roll inside of the 20 and will be down by Lampton at the 15-yard line. So both teams have had the football. Bellevue West, their first 3 plays resulted in 1st downs, and then they were stopped on 4th down. And Burke is forced into a 3 and out, and they punted away as we play field position with 8:36 to go here in the 1st quarter of the quarterfinals. There are 8 left. There are actually now 7. Millard South defeated Grand Island earlier today. Millard South will play the winner of Lincoln Southeast and Omaha West Side. The winner of this game will get Millard West or Elkhorn South. You just saw Xavier Betts. He is split way out wide to the top of your screen as Nate Glantz is in the pistol with Ducker on his hip. That's a good combo. Glantz quick drop. His pass is incomplete.
Yeah, I got to say, that's a nice little wrinkle that Paul Lamanji brings out with the little pooch kick, right? That must not have been in film anywhere because Bellevue West had no idea that quarterback could punt the ball. And they kind of flipped the field where that was like a probably 40, 50-yard punt that puts them back in their own zone and makes them travel the whole field. That's what you got to do to a team like Bellevue West. You got to make them earn it, make them go 85 yards to get a touchdown.
Glantz has got a cannon of an arm. He's got 30 touchdown passes, no interceptions this year. His pass there on 1st down was wide of Caden Helms. Now 2nd down and 10. As Burke changes up the front a little bit, and they bring pressure as Ducker runs over the left side to the 2nd level. He's going to have a pickup of about 5 yards, and it'll set up 3rd down and 5 for the T-Birds, who are unbeaten 10-0. But because of the district they were in, their seed is number 4. This is actually the number 4 seed against the number 5 seed. Bellevue West, the number 4 seed, hosting tonight. But in the rankings, Bellevue West is number 1.
Yeah, they're the consensus number 1 team, and there's nothing you could do about your schedule at this level. And they just beat everyone by a lot of points.
Fake on the jet sweep, and Glantz calls his own number, and he's got a 1st down.
Yeah, this is tough sledding uphill for Burke because they only play 3 linemen, and they're always going to bring what they call a spinner off the edge, and those big boys for Bellevue West just came off the ball and manhandled them.
Glantz on the run, pass downfield, caught by Sullivan, and he is out to the 47-yard line. That's a pickup of 16. It's the first dual-threat quarterback that Mike Huffman has had here at Bellevue West, and you've seen it on back-to-back plays what Glantz can do for this offense as he completes this big pass to Nate Sullivan.
Oh, just a little flood route out there. Put 3 guys out there. He rolls them out just a little bit to make the throw easier. I love that because it's so hard to throw all the way across the field. And that ball right there, the DB went for it, almost got to it. That shows you the rollout helps that ball get there faster.
You saw Mike Huffman, who has a state title. Both of these coaches very familiar with each other. Mike Huffman actually went to Kearney to play baseball and then said, I got to get into coaching and football. And his first job was actually at Omaha Burke. As Glantz looks over the defense, boy, weapons galore. He's got 4 wide receivers at his disposal with Ducker in the backfield. Burke shows pressure, flag is down, and Ducker's got a big pickup close to the first down. And it is a first down. They'll pick up the flag. And Bellevue West marches once again into Burke territory. They were stopped on 4th down on their first possession.
You know, we're starting to get a sense of what Burke wants to do. They're shooting gaps, right? They're slanting really hard. They're trying to make plays in the backfield. And sometimes if you miss, you get burned by it.
Glantz tried to draw the defense off. Pump fake deep down the field. And the pass is broken up. Xavier Watts was there right with Keegan Johnson, and he was able to swat it away. And Xavier Watts going to play wide receiver in South Bend, but he can do both and does it exceptionally well here in Nebraska.
Yeah, that was exceptional closing on the ball because he actually bit on whatever fake they had there because he had to catch up to that ball. Played it smart, just got his hands up, got in the receiver's way, and was able to distract him enough so he couldn't make the catch.
Remember the name Keegan Johnson. The Johnson name, very popular around here, is Ducker. Bowls his way close to a first down. Ducker at 5'10", 195. He'll be about a yard short, but Keegan Johnson is only a junior, is drawing a lot of interest, including from Nebraska. His father, Clester, played here at Bellevue West, played at Nebraska in the mid-90s. He's got 2 brothers that are fantastic wide receivers. CJ had a 3-year career at Wyoming before he was saddled by injuries. And then Cade is an All-American at South Dakota State. It's 3rd down and 1. Glantz changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Here's Ducker. When you need a first down, you go to Jay Ducker.
Yeah, this is nothing fancy. They're just running play side zone, and they get everyone going on the same angle, and he just leans forward. You watch right there, the O-lineman for Bellevue West, they're all going to step with their right foot, and they're all just going to go to the right. And the running back has great vision right there. He sees where there's no color, and he runs away from it and puts his head down and gets a first down.
Ducker's a 5,000-yard career rusher. He is currently sitting in his career at 99 touchdowns. He is 6 away from the record in the state of Nebraska. First down and 10 as Bellevue West is on the move. This drive started at their own 15, and Ducker once again, quick step through the hole, and he is down close to another first down as they just keep churning yards. And you're right, Chris, it's nothing fancy. It's just nice, consistent, solid football moving ahead. There are very few negative plays in this Bellevue West offense.
Yeah, Ducker has great vision right there. You saw a little reminiscent of Le'Veon Bell kind of hesitating in the hole, waiting for something to open up, and he was quick to get through the hole. And he's okay with not having to make big plays. He wants to get 4, 5, 6 yards a pop because he knows later in the game those plays, the holes become bigger and the plays become bigger.
He's headed to Northern Illinois, and boy, are they excited in DeKalb to get Jay Ducker. And Ducker dives for another big pickup.
Counter trap. This is the first time they ran this all night. They really only run a few plays running the ball. Look at how they're going to pull the backside guard and tackle, get a down block on the front side. And I love that the running back kept it inside. A lot of running backs want to bounce that. I call it fool's gold. There's nothing on the outside. So he took the A-gap, put his head down, and got 5, 6 yards. Nice little pickup.
In the red zone. Around the end goes Keegan Johnson, and he's inside of the 5. Boy, you have to be so good with your eye discipline and your communication on defense when you're playing Bellevue West, because they give you a lot of window dressing, and then when you think it's just window dressing, it's actually Keegan Johnson has the ball and he's coming around the end.
Yeah, I think Burke does a great job here, pursuing to the ball. That easily he could have walked in for a touchdown, but that shows that they do have some athletes on that side too. They caught up to him and held for a minimal gain.
Ducker's in the Wildcat. Nate Glantz, bottom of your screen. They'll run this play a lot from inside of the 5-yard line. Wildcat to Ducker, lunging forward towards the goal line. He'll be stopped just a yard short, and now it'll be 3rd down and goal.
Yeah, they love the Wildcat. They put him in down there, and they feel like, they told me that it's 100% they're going to get a touchdown with him in the Wildcat. They feel that confident in him, and it's a little different because they don't have the quarterback in the box, because a lot of times the quarterback can be involved, but they're just going to get him the ball and let him run.
Wildcat again, Ducker finding space, diving touchdown for the 100th time in his career.
You know, it's pretty special to think you have 100 touchdowns in your high school career.
That is the countdown board in front of the student section here at Bellevue West. And on the Wildcat, on the second opportunity, Jay Ducker, his 100th career touchdown, his 35th touchdown this season, and it is 6-0 in favor of Bellevue West on an 85-yard drive. Pretty methodical, as the PAT is blocked. Gerardo had it partially deflected as we get a look at Ducker's 100th. 6-0 Bell West.
Tonight's Game Time keys to the game are brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. For more high school action, be sure to check out yourview.com.
Shop Woodhouse Mazda today, where we make your Mazda buying process easy. Come in and take a look at our selection of all-new Mazda CX-9s. The all-new Mazda CX-9 comes equipped with third-row seating, giving you plenty of room for you and your family to hit the road. The all-new Mazda CX-9 keeps your family safe with available blind spot monitoring and lane keep assist technology. Shop our showrooms at 66 and L or our new location at 144th and Giles. This is Woodhouse Mazda.
You're watching Game Time on YourView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out yourview.com.
Fourteen-play drive, 84 yards. A scoring drive for the T-Birds. Capped off by Jay Ducker's 100th career touchdown from 2 yards out on the Wildcat. Sit next to the next star for Bellevue West, sophomore Micah Riley. It's a crisp night. Chris Bober here in Bellevue.
Yeah, this is playoff. This is playoff football weather. There really is not much wind. We don't have any rain out there, so it's just nice and crisp. People are bundled up, and you got to keep moving, or else you're going to get a little cold tonight.
Gerardo, who missed that extra point, drills it to the 1-yard line, where Payne has to grab it on a bounce. Boy, he's going to make something out of it. I think he was waiting for it to go into the end zone, but it was perfectly placed. It hit at the 1-yard line, went straight up, and he couldn't hesitate any longer, but was able to get it out near the 20-yard line.
Yeah, this looks like a punt. So guys in the NFL can do this. They can hit it at the 1-yard line and get to back up like Tiger Woods. But for some reason, it bounced and came backwards, and he very alertly picked it up and ran. Very heady player right there, and he got out right about past the 20-yard line. That's a win right there, when that could have easily been having them pinned down inside the 5. I think that's a positive right there for them.
Burke 9-1, their only loss this year. Week number 2, they lost to Millard West, who is the number 1 seed in the postseason, and the winner of this game will take on the winner of Millard West and Elkhorn South. 6-0 in favor of Bellevue West. These two teams did not meet during the regular season, but ironically, they met in a pretty spirited scrimmage during the summer. Second possession for the Burke Bulldogs. They went 3 and out their first time as Jalen Roussel picks up 8. Roussel along with James Burks, and Roussel slow to get up as trying to lift himself off the turf. And
Officials injury.
Burke medical staff will come out to check on their 1,000-yard rusher. And now Roussel is up.
You know, it's a nice opening play, really. They cut the defense a little bit. They got to get after them and attack them. He might have, maybe he got his ankle rolled up there, maybe just a little bit, throw a little tape on there. Hopefully we'll see him back in the game, because Burke is not that deep at their skill players, and Bellevue West is. So it's really hard. If they start getting deep in their team, it's going to be hard to match up.
And that's not a good sign. It looked like he got rolled up on that left ankle. Roussel was a key part of the state championship team last year with James Burks, who was one of the best athletes in the history of Burke High, football and wrestling. So Roussel is out after he picked up 8 yards. 6-0 in favor of Bellevue West as we near the end of the first quarter. But off the bench, next man up under Paul Lamanji. And a quick burst out of the backfield by Tonio Clark, and he's got a first down.
Yeah, sometimes you get this. Sometimes you elevate your teammates' level of play when the backup has to come in, because they know they have to play that much better. So at least for a while, Burke looks to have a little bit of more spirit out there, running the ball right at the Thunderbirds.
Clark is only a junior, 47 carries now this year. We'll keep an eye on the Burke sideline for Jalen Roussel. First down and 10.
And this is that focus that the coaches talked about. You know, they really haven't been in too many hard fights here, so they want to see them respond.
The black and old gold of Omaha Burke, fresh off their first state title. Burke chased out of the pocket, slings it deep down the field for Watts, and just over his head. He had a step on the 2 defenders, but Burke, who was pressured out of the pocket, couldn't hook up with the speedy Xavier Watts.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard for the quarterback to sit back there. Bellevue West has some really good rushers up there, but I think he has a little bit of a flash here, and he just didn't hang up there quite long enough. He had to get rid of it a split second sooner than he wanted to, but they're going to feature Watts out there tonight because he's kind of their best guy. They can't spread it around too much, so I think Bellevue West knows that, so they're going to kind of bracket him a little bit.
9 of the 10 games this year, Bellevue West held their opponent to a touchdown or less, and here is Clark once again against that tough defense. He's got a pickup of 21 yards.
Yeah, sometimes the backup doesn't know that they're the backup, right? He gets out there, he's got a chance to play. He gets way out there. Look at that. He gets out in space. What a great job of using his hand. It's a nice little stiff arm there. Look at the block on the outside. These receivers can block.
So Burke, after being forced into a punt, Paul Lamanji has pushed the right buttons with Jalen Roussel on the bench after injuring his ankle. They'll keep it on the ground again for Clark, and Clark takes a big hit as he crosses inside of the 40-yard line. There to come up to meet him was C.J. Lillenkamp, but Clark, grasping onto the football, holds on, and it'll be second down and 5.
And the big boys from Bellevue West are getting a little lazy up front, because what Burke does is Burke has about 4 to 5 foot splits. So they automatically have a crease in there, and they're just sticking to the D linemen. The D linemen are stuck on the O linemen. They're not getting off and making plays. They're going to challenge them to get off and make plays.
You got Griffin at 325 and Shannon at 295 up front for Bellevue West. Burke changing the plays. That's right. Reed Burke is the quarterback at Burke. And here's Clark with the carry, trying to follow his blocks. He'll push ahead for maybe an additional yard or 2, and it'll set up third down and short in the final minute of the first quarter.
Yeah, I think this is obvious 4-down territory. A punt doesn't do you a whole lot of good, and obviously you're not going to kick a field goal from this far. So they basically have 2 plays to get 2 yards. Don't get too fancy and know that you have to get too much out of this. Give them your 2 best plays. I love how they're creasing the defense against Bellevue West, because that's where those big guys up front, they don't move as well. So they're making them run back and forth, trying to wear them down.
Paul Lamanji, his 14th year as the head coach at Burke. Reed Burke is quarterback in the pistol on third down and short. Miscommunication and the fumble on the play. Burke scrambled back to get on top of the ball, but it's back at the 40-yard line. That's a loss of 4. He turned the wrong way, or there was miscommunication. When he turned to hand the ball off, there was nobody there, and he could feel the pressure coming. Fortunately for Omaha Burke, Reed Burke was able to recover the loose ball, but it sets up 4th down and 6, and it brings us to the end of the first quarter. Jay Ducker's 100th career touchdown is the only scratch on the scoreboard of this quarterfinal showdown between Bellevue West and Omaha Burke. It's game time on Your View.
Not getting into college with this score.
I'm that score. The reason they're stressed, he's not getting into her dream college.
Another practice test.
Doesn't matter. I'll never be ready.
Ready? It's only the biggest test of her life.
When test prep stress takes over, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results.
I got it.
Reject the stress. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
Smart is selling your home with FSBO Homes. The Home Transparency Report helped me sell my home faster and at a fair price. Buyers walked through my home online using the 3D virtual open house. So I had fewer private showings, and I accepted an offer with the tap of a finger. Let's make this sale official. All the service without the commission. It's the smart way to buy and sell a home.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow smoke Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon, quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Start of the second quarter, and Paul Lamanji, with his first chess piece, he moves into the middle of the table on 4th down and 6. It's a trick play. No, it's actually a punt. They ran an end around. Now there is a late flag, an end around on the toss to Trevor Lampkin. He stopped. It looked like it was going to be a halfback pass, and Lampkin stopped and punted it away. Then after the ball bounced, Jeremy Gilfrey threw his flag from a long way away from the play, and now he discusses with his crew what the penalty is.
You know, after the play, dead ball after the play, so the T-Birds keep the ball. It was late. You know, I'm thinking that because he's not a punter, he's free game. It just must have been too late. You know what I mean? You can't hit him. He's not protected like a punter, but I think they just did a little too late, and he couldn't get the flag out of his pocket. I thought perhaps the Burke guy said something to the ref because that came so late. Looks like he might have chirped in his ear and not liked it.
Millard South has already won today on quarterfinal Friday. Lincoln Southeast, playing host to Omaha West Side, have already defeated West Side this year. West Side on the road at Seacrest Field.
After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 74 on the return team. Half the distance to the goal, 1st and 10, Bellevue West.
The referee, Jeremy Gilfrey, but into the second quarter, Omaha West Side leads Lincoln Southeast 20-0. Here, 6-0 on a Jay Ducker 2-yard touchdown run. That was an 84-yard touchdown drive for Bellevue West. They'll start this drive after the penalty at their own 13-yard line, just underway in the second quarter. Along with Chris Bober, I'm Gary Sharp. Here's Betts on the end around with blocking in front. He turns the corner, and he's got room. He's got space. He's got a view of the end zone all by himself, and now he pulls away from everybody. Touchdown. Xavier Betts goes 87.
That's amazing. They were in position to make the play. I just don't think they believed how fast he was. He's so big. You can't believe he's moving that fast. He should never have had that corner. That was a slow developing play, but that's why that kid is going to Nebraska, and just a tremendous talent. He just hit the afterburners there.
He's been clocked in a 4.59 40. You saw that long stride at 6'4", 195. When he turned it on, he was gone 87 yards for the touchdown. Murado, left-footed kicker. It is up, it is through the uprights. One play, another score. 13-0 Bellevue West.
You're watching Game Time on Your View. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out yourview.com.
With 2019 winding down, step into Woodhouse Nissan today to see the newest 2020 Nissans, where you will find the 2020 Nissan Rogue now available with motion-activated liftgate. Rogue can now help you drive smoother with intelligent all-wheel drive, helping to adapt to changing road conditions. Stay connected in your Rogue with Nissan Intelligent Mobility, technology that helps you drive with greater awareness. Nissan Intelligent Mobility is the future of driving. Take home a Nissan today from Woodhouse Nissan and visit one of our 2 convenient locations in Bellevue and at 144th and Giles at Woodhouse Place. This is Woodhouse Nissan.
Tonight's Game Time keys to the game are brought to you by the Woodhouse Auto Family. For more high school action, be sure to check out yourview.com.
LSU takes on number 2 Alabama, the biggest game of the season. What makes this rivalry so special is it also extends to recruiting, where the Tide and the Tigers have waged some epic battles. Andrew Boone of Bama Insider and Rivals.com talked to Jeremy Crabtree about Nick Saban's success in Louisiana and how Ed Orgeron has brought new fire to the recruiting trail. It's on this week's Your Views High School Football Recruiting Pass podcast, Over the Middle, with Jeremy Crabtree. It's the Over the Middle podcast on yourview.com. Officially credited as a pass from Glance to Betts, 87 yards. A run or a pass, it counts as 6. And it's 13-0 in favor of Bellevue West.
Yeah, he's already got over 1,000 yards this year. He just put a big chunk of them right there in that pass. And, you know, that's the worst case scenario for Burke, is to give up a big play. They've been really holding back and making him work for it. But, you know, if you give a big plays like that, it's hard to recover.
Here comes Michael Payne III, and he's got a big play in his sights. Cutting to the outside. Now it's a foot race. And he's knocked out of bounds inside of the 25-yard line.
Burke answers right back. That's all you got to do to get back in this game, is get yourself a big play, get in the plus side. You know, great hustle. I mean, you saw right there, we talked about already the hustle on this team. They got athletes. Most teams, if a guy breaks like that, he's going to go all the way. But look at the athletic ability right up front. You know, this blocked really well. He just hits a crease and he just keeps going forward. I love that he didn't try to just get it to the sidelines. Go up the middle. That's where your blocking is. And he ended up getting caught, but that's a big-time play.
76-yard kickoff return from Michael Payne III. He was part of the state championship team last year, had an integral part on both sides of the ball, and he has given life to his team after the 87-yard reception for Xavier Betts that put Bellevue West up 13-0. And Reed Burke is right back on the attack. No Jalen Roussel as he hands it off to Clark, following over the left side. Gets a handful of yards. Jalen Roussel injured in the last offensive possession, the 1,000-yard rusher for Burke. Injured his ankle. He has not come back in. He is walking over on the sidelines. But now Paul Lamanji has put his faith in junior running back, 5'11", 190-pound Tonio Clark. Officially a pickup of 3. Clark, the running back, directly behind Reed Burke. Burke play action. Swings it for the end zone and just missed Aiden Queen, his tight end, who was wide open.
Oh, he's going to want that one back. He was a nice little move, faking him to the outside, went on the inside on a skinny post, and he was wide open. Looks like Bellevue West, they're not playing any kind of zone. They're matching up man-to-man. They're not giving these other receivers a lot of respect, and right there, that could have really burned him for a touchdown. But the quarterback, with all the time in the world, missed the throw. He's got to make those throws if they want to get back in this game.
It's David Moriano, who had a step ahead of everybody. And now it's 3rd down after the long kickoff return by Michael Payne III. Burke to put it up towards the end zone, and it is incomplete. He was looking for Watts.
Watts doesn't miss many of those plays. He had that one in his hands. I don't know if he got caught in the lights or something. I've seen him make that play several times. Right there, he just did not get that one in. Oh, here we go. They're just going to high point it here. He comes out, nice little move to the corner. He's got a step, and he gets a little turned around, but he usually makes that play. Off his hands, that's very rare to see him drop that ball.
Colin Urban is in. This is a 37-yard field goal. Jackson is the holder. And the kick is well wide to the left. So the long kickoff return goes for naught. And Bellevue West puts their offense right back on the field. They've scored on an 84-yard touchdown run. And they've scored on an 87-yard touchdown. More of a pitch and catch 86-yard run after the toss to Xavier Betts as Paul Lamanji now asked for his defense to get a stop. 10:27 to go in the first half.
That's put a lot of pressure on this defense. You know, they have a couple opportunities to make plays, to score points, and they come away with nothing at this point. That hurts. You know, so the defense has a lot on their shoulders right now. If they can come up with a play, somehow maybe get this offense back in the game, get some points on the board.
Nate Glantz steps up, and now he'll run. And still on the run. He'll finally go down out near the 35-yard line. That is a pickup of 15.
Yeah, they don't ask him to run a whole lot, but he's pretty crafty when he does get out there. Right there, just getting as many yards as he can. He didn't take a big hit, didn't try to get too much, got the first down, and now he's back ready to go.
Glantz has run for over 400 yards this year. And left side of his offensive line jumps soon. And
dead ball, false start, number 65 on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You know,
Bellevue West 10-0.
You know, I don't think they ask him to run a lot. I think what happens is you get these athletes down the field, it leaves a huge void because everyone's trying to cover the guys down the field. So if he just has a crease, he can easily pick up a first down, just like he did there.
Mike Huffman waving hello to all of his relatives that are in the South watching us tonight on yourview.com. Coach Huffman, 7th year, 65-13, with a title to boot and visions of another one this year. And there's Doherty again with a strong tackle. Well, that's how you teach tackling. Now he came up in the hole and he stuck Jay Ducker right at the 30-yard line.
And he has a nose for the ball. He does not hesitate. When he sees, you know, watch him here. You might not be able to see it, but he sees a crease. He's going to go right in there. He does not hesitate at all. And he's getting there before the lineman can react to him coming up in the hole.
And the reverse is coming. And it'll be slowed up in the backfield. That is something that Burke diagnosed Chris Bober right away. They saw it was coming, and Larry Bonner led the charge to force the tackle for loss, and it sets up a third down, a rare third down and long for this Bellevue West offense.
Yeah, Burke is very well coached. You see right here, it is a slow developing play, so it didn't hit as quick as I think they wanted to. But once they come around there, they know those guys on the outside here, they take away the edge, and that forces them to come back and right into the teeth of the defense.
And Burke jumps offside. Glantz again with that hard count. We've seen it a couple of times tonight. And in this case, he got Caleb Robinson to jump, and that'll cost Burke 5 yards.
Dead ball. Encroachment on the defense, number 74. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
These guys don't need any breaks. You know, they're giving them a little bit too many breaks out here. That's allowing them to if you give them too many chances, they're going to make big plays and make it hurt on you. So hopefully they can get off the field here and get a stop on third down.
Glantz on 3rd and long. He has 3 Division I wide receivers to throw to. He rolls out, looks downfield, lets it fly deep down the field, and it is incomplete.
Yeah, they're just taking a shot there. And again, I like how they get the quarterback out of the pocket because that allows him to let the play develop. The D linemen are going to a spot. By the time they react to him rolling, he's got the edge. And it also allows him to kind of step into that throw. And if he'd have hung that up there a little bit more, his receivers might have had a chance.
A victory for Burke because this is a rare punt. This is only the 10th punt for Bellevue West this year. This is the 11th game of the season.
Yeah, you look at the stats here. Bellevue West has only given up 35 points this year. They've scored 542, and they've given up 35, so they've dominated.
Nate Glantz, quarterback and punter. And his punt gets a great bounce. And it will roll all the way to the 10-yard line. So add the roll onto it. That is a 58-yard punt.
He's well rested. Fresh legs. Yeah, I don't know why Burke doesn't have a punt returner back there. I mean, the punt returner's job is to catch the ball so things like that don't happen. I think they were just surprised to see a punter come out there, so they didn't even have a punt returner scheduled this game. But I don't know. I think if you see the punter out there again, I'd put someone back there just to prevent that long roll.
Game time high school football in your view, presented by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Connect online with Iowa Western at iwcc.edu or call 1-800-432-5852. There's Chris Bober. I'm Gary Sharp. This is a moment for Burke. They are pinned deep in their own territory, down 13-0 in the quarterfinal. The defending state champions without Jalen Roussel. Tonio Clark spins for a couple of yards. Tonio Clark, the backup, as we mentioned, 46 carries coming in, but Jalen Roussel, the #1 running back, 175 carries, averaging nearly 150 yards per game, but injured his ankle a couple of series ago, and he has not returned. So Tonio Clark now steps up, and we'll see if Reed Burke puts it up. Tonio Clark runs it again and pinballs off a couple of defenders and fights his way out near the 20-yard line. He's going to be short by a yard, and now it is 3rd down and 1. This Burke offense, as nope, now they will say it is a 1st down. They gave him a very good spot. And there's Jalen Roussel on the sidelines. It was 40 degrees at kickoff, and then you have that bum left ankle. And they taped it up as Chris Hickman is in your picture wearing the hat. He's the former Burke Bulldog who's now scholarship tight end at Nebraska. Chris Hickman, Nick Henrich in Lincoln. Reed Burke going deep for Xavier Watts. He goes up and the ball falls incomplete. Batted around between 2 defenders. Watts was trying to time his jump, and it was just a little bit off the mark, and it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, this is a different animal here going against these athletes that Bellevue West has in their backfield. A ball like that goes up. A lot of times he comes down with that, but Bellevue West has the athletes to go back there and play the ball at its high point too. So they did a great job of defending it. And if you're going to throw the ball up like that too many times, you know what? That was almost an interception. You know, that could have easily been intercepted. So Burke's got to be a little bit careful about plays like that.
Xavier Watts will play wide receiver at Notre Dame. Feels that is the place to go to get him to the NFL. Tonio Clark runs it once again. Boy, anything on the ground against this stout defense is tough sledding. And it'll be 3rd down and long once again for Burke. 13-0 in favor of Bellevue West. Jay Ducker's 100th career touchdown out of the Wildcat from 2 yards. And then on the little flip pass from Nate Glantz to Xavier Betts, who took it 87 yards, that's the other score.
Yeah, a play like this, watch out for number 19, Jack McConnell. They love to bring him, and he's got 9 sacks, he's got 5 interceptions, he's all over the place.
Watts went inside, Burke went deep, and it's incomplete. And Burke will have to punt the football.
You know, that's what's tough about matching up with this, because really you could tell that they're trying to force the ball over to Xavier Watts, and Bellevue West knows that. So it's really tough when they know what you're doing. You can't run the ball. They need to change it up a little bit, but it probably will help if they get some success on the ground to soften them up a little bit.
So on 4th down and 7, we've seen this already tonight. Burke steps back, and before he can let it go off of his left foot, there's a flag from Jeremy.
Dead ball. False start. Number 67 on the offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th, 3rd down.
So for the longest time, Bellevue West has been known for their offense. Well, now they have a great defense to match it. The most points they've allowed this year, they gave up 13 to Elkhorn South. Ironically, that is the closest game that Bellevue West has been involved in this year. They won that game 36-13. They are 10-0. They have outscored their opponents 542-35 coming into tonight's game. As Burke drops back, low snap, picks it up, and boots it away. And nobody back for Bellevue West. And this will roll out of bounds. They'll mark it at the 44. 13-0. Bellevue West back on offense after this.
Another bad grade?
I miss little grades. And the square root of her biggest problem.
I studied all week.
I miss poor study skills. I stress beyond her comprehension.
We can't keep having this conversation.
It's not like I want to fail.
When low grades follow you home, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results. Keep low grades out. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow smoke Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
We're going to break. A flag was thrown. A personal foul on Omaha Burke. And so Bellevue West begins this possession up 2 scores at the Burke 41-yard line. Little toss out of the backfield to Ducker. Stops, starts, hauled down from behind. It's Caleb Robinson. Stopped Ducker at the 35. That's a pickup of 6. Jay Ducker headed to Northern Illinois.
His little student body left, really. They pulled any uncovered guy they have. I think both guards there just pulled, and they just kind of run to the sidelines and they let the running back pick his spot. And out of the shotgun, I like that little pitch because it gives him a little bit of leverage to get to the edge.
Betts in motion. Glance on the option. He keeps it, and he's got a first down. Took a big hit from Doherty. But they'll move the sticks.
You know, this is so tough with an offense that's this versatile. Running the speed option right here. Little fake pitch, puts his head down, a little reminiscent of the 90s here. But Bellevue West has everything. I mean, they've shown almost everything tonight, and it's very, very tough to defend an offense that, number 1, has a lot of talent. Number 2, runs every play that high school runs.
Now with Bellevue West starting to go downhill, Paul Lamanji will take a timeout. We are into quarterfinal Friday in the state of Nebraska. 16 teams make the playoffs. We are to 8 as Paul Lamanji letting his defense know what he needs out of them, down 13-0. Millard West and Elkhorn South will begin within the hour. The winner of that game will play the winner of this one. Earlier today, Millard South defeated Grand Island 44-24. And last checked, Omaha West Side in the second quarter was leading Lincoln Southeast 20-0. All roads lead to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln for the Class A state final in the final week of November. What a year it's been here on Game Time. Thank you to everybody that has joined us, our fantastic crew. Out for one final time, Paul Lamanji. This time last year, he was on a journey, unbeaten. Now, his quest is to slow this Bellevue West offense down. First down and 10 after the timeout. Glance, play action. Throws it back on the wheel to Ducker, wide open. He'll waltz into the end zone. What a play.
Oh, man, that's dirty. I'm telling you, that's almost cheating because he rolls out to the right, which they've done several times tonight, and they leak the running back out the backside. And there's always someone that's supposed to be back, usually the backside corner. He's got anything wide. They don't let anything get wider than him, but they get sucked into the play, and he has the patience to see it through, turn around, guy's wide open.
Well, I don't know what option of Bellevue West offense you try and eliminate, because once you stop one part, you've got the other to deal with. Corrado in for the PAT, and it is good, and it is 20-0 Bellevue West. And you only have so many opportunities against this Thunderbird team, and when you're unable to cash them in, they make you pay, and that's what they do here. Glance to Ducker.
Yeah, just a beautiful play. Watch it. Everyone go to the right, and he draws everyone down. Sometimes I've seen them sell this longer, but he just leaks right out of there, and the defense bites on it, and there's no one there. I mean, perfectly thrown right there. That DB right there, his responsibility is that guy. And he got sucked in there, got sniffing around in the box, trying to stop a play, trying to make a play, and it just backfires on him.
Ducker was first-team All-State last year. He will be first-team All-State this year, and he now has 101 touchdowns in his career. Calvin Strong of Omaha North had 104. Moses Bryant of Elkhorn South had 105. And Jay Ducker is thinking he will have the rest of this game next week, and then a state final, possibly in his career. 15 carries, 85 yards, and a couple of scores, as it is now 20-0 in favor of Bellevue West. T-Birds are 10-0.
Yeah, Ducker's definitely one of the reasons they're 10-0. You know, when you have a team like this, guys like that show up, and he shows up every week. He scores, gets the ball in his hands. He has a nose for the end zone. Very, very good player.
And the kickoff will go out of bounds, so good field position to start for Burke. 5:22 to go in the first half. The last 2 full games and now another half. Bellevue West has outscored the opposition 131-0.
On the kicking team, ball will be placed at the 35-yard line. 1st and 10, Burke.
It's tough to talk when it's cold outside. It is about 35 degrees right now here in Bellevue. And a new quarterback is in the game. Toby Kellner, Jr., comes in for Reed Burke. As the Bulldogs start this possession at the 35, and you would think to have a chance, Chris, they've got to get points.
Yeah, you know, they need something to happen. You know, Bellevue West just has them figured out, and they're getting good field position. They're getting opportunities. They're just not taking advantage of them. And against a really good football team, any little cracks, any little opportunities you get, you have to cash in on those. And so far, Burke has not done that.
Jerome Houston came up and stopped Xavier Watts. Houston is the Metro 110 hurdle champion. Comes out of the cornerback spot. Toby Kellner now in at quarterback. Kellner, 5'11", 175-pound junior. Not completed a pass this year. Has run it a couple of times in place of Reed Burke. Kellner will call his own number, and flag comes out as the snap comes back to Kellner.
You know, is this something that Burke does? I mean, I don't feel like this is a kid that we've seen a whole lot. I wonder if he's trying to maybe provide a spark, or if maybe the other quarterback got a little dinged up.
Dead ball. Ball start. Number 54. Snap infraction. 5-yard penalty. Repeat. 2nd down.
So with a brand new quarterback, you know this is a lineman. That cadence is a little bit different. What's said in the huddle is a little bit different. And so you get disjointed. That's what happened here. And Burke is going the wrong way. It'll be 2nd down and 18. 20-0 in favor of Bellevue West.
Yeah, and Reed Burke's back in the game. You know, all it took was a bad snap for him to come back out there. So I'm not exactly sure what they were trying to do there. If there's sometimes coaches will have a certain play or two that they want a guy to run, and it looks like they've done that, and they're done with it.
And Paul Lamanji did not like something he saw in the alignment, so he takes his second timeout.
Of the half.
And Reed Burke, who just came into the game, as Chris alluded to, will come over to the sideline to talk with his head coach. Very affable Paul Lamanji from Youngstown, Ohio. What a year it was last year, personally and professionally, for Paul Lamanji. He was diagnosed in March of 2018 with tonsil cancer, but it didn't slow him down. Got a fantastic family. He's got daughters who are soccer stars. And what a reward last year for all the hard work that Paul Lamanji has put in as the head coach at Burke to break through and win a state title against Grand Island in Lincoln last November.
You're seeing how good of a coach he is right here in trying to somehow stop the negative momentum and somehow grab some momentum going your way. He sees that things are going bad, calls a timeout, see what they can do.
Burke under pressure, rolling out, throws downfield. It is caught for minimal gain. Clark caught it, but Kira was right there in his hip pocket to bring him down. Now it is 3rd and almost to the end of Sarpy County.
Yeah, that's what happens when you get way behind the chains. You make a nice little play there, and it doesn't get you a whole lot because you have 3rd and 15. So this is a tough predicament to be in against this talented defense. These DBs are just salivating right now, hoping the ball gets up in the air, they can go get it.
It'll be up in the air here. Burke steps up. Can he get out of pressure? Nope, goes down. Big David Shannon, along with Jaden Roberts, were there to bring Burke down.
That's impressive for those big guys. They're moving pretty quick. You know, they haven't played all that well, I think, this game so far. But you look right there, they just beat their guys right off the snap. They're in the backfield. Right, look at him pushes all the way back, and he breaks out of there. Look at the big boy. That's good athletic ability right there. They say that guy right there, number 99, David Shannon, is a guy that when he's motivated and focused, he is a heck of a football player.
Shannon is 6 foot 295, a senior. Just picked up his 22nd tackle of the year. They know their defensive lineman here at Bellevue West. Malcolm Lee had a stellar career, went to Iowa Western, and is now at Kansas. And you can tell by the emblems on Shannon's helmet and some of the collision marks what kind of a year it has been for him. Bellevue West has 5 shutouts, including 2 straight. And this is a defense as a whole, a program that has come a long ways. A couple of years ago, they gave up 73 to Omaha West Side. This is not Doug Woodard's basketball team. This was Mike Huffman's football team that gave up 73 to Omaha West Side. And then last year, they gave up 52 to Omaha North. He said in the offseason, we have the talent, we have the coaches, we just need to put it together. And boy, have they done just that. They've only given up 35 points so far this year.
You know, for them, it's a matter of motivation, and their biggest enemy is complacency, right? They're winning these games by so much. It's hard to get these guys to give full effort because they're winning. They're so good. But the mark of true champions are the ones that even when they do have everything going for them, is to push themselves a little bit more, because they're going to need it. They're going to have a challenge here in this playoffs. It may not be tonight, but they will not be able to run through everyone.
This is going to be offside
Dead
on
ball.
Bellevue West.
False start. Number 54 on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat, 4th down.
Yeah, that could easily win against the defense. Not that it would have mattered too much because it's 3rd and now 4th and 15. But, you know, nothing's going right for Burke this half. Things like that are going against them. And now they got to give them an even shorter field.
Penalties on Cal Yort. Whatever Yort did, the left side of the Bellevue West line jumped into the neutral zone as this punt is away. And the fair catch back at the 39-yard line for Gerardo. And that is where Bellevue West will take over, and they've got plenty of time. 3:11 to go in the first half. Coming up at halftime, we'll have stats analysis. We'll talk about the array of talent that is on the field tonight. Also, we'll visit with Bellevue West principal Kevin Rolfs. That's all to come at halftime, where the winner is off to the semifinals. Millard South is already waiting for either Lincoln Southeast or Omaha West Side. And West Side is up 27-0 at halftime of that game. Glance to put it up. Fires it deep down the field. He wants Betts, and Betts not there, but it is intercepted. The interception with Trevor Lampkin. I think Betts, Chris, it looked like he was hesitating. He was just going to speed up and run under the ball, and it was over his head. Lampkin played it very well to snag the interception.
You know, I saw that pre-snap alignment, and they had trips to the left side, 3 receivers, and then they're going to put the running back in motion. They have 4 players out there on 2. There's no reason to throw this down towards the defender. There's only 2 defenders, and they have 4 receivers in the area. Just a poor choice by the quarterback. He's just kind of used to throwing it up as a guy getting it, but he showed right there that there's another pretty good player that wants to go get that ball too.
That is the first interception thrown by Nate Glantz this season.
Wow.
It happens in week 11 with 3:03 to go in the first half. Again, no Jalen Roussel in the backfield. Burke turns and hands it off to Clark. Trying to get to the outside, and again, and not going to make a living trying that against this Bellevue West defense. It is a pickup of 5. I beg your pardon, it was Palmer Williams on the carry. Clark and Palmer Williams are sharing the duties with Roussel on the sidelines with the injured ankle. Pickup of 5 as the clock continues to run towards the end of the first half. Burke just heaves it out of bounds, and they will throw the flag. And this will cost the Bulldogs.
So they're going to call intentional grounding here. There has to be a receiver there. There's no past line of scrimmage stuff, right? High school levels, yeah. So I think sometimes you get caught watching the NFL on the weekends, and you think, hey, as long as I get it back to the line of scrimmage, it's good. But there was no clear receiver in the area, and that's tough for that quarterback because he's thinking about not giving up a sack, and he ends up losing the
number 14 on the offense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the spot where the quarterback threw the ball, and it's also a loss of down. 3rd down.
And all of that from our referee, Jeremy Gilfrey. And Burke is staring at the football on the 5-yard line. So after the interception by Lampkin, the Bulldogs have gone the wrong ways.
Yeah, it just gets pressure, and they're just pushing the pockets. All they're doing. He gets out of there, and there's nowhere for him to go with it. It was just a poor choice, I guess, to throw it out of bounds. And then they're backed up here. You have a handoff on such a long down and distance, and what they're really trying to do is just not get sacked in the end zone and give up a safety. It's tough. You're totally backed up against one of the historically best defenses in the state of Nebraska. It's tough sledding out there for those guys.
And Bellevue West with the opportunity here with 2:13 to go in the first half. They'll call timeout. Burke keeping it on the ground just to give their punter a little bit of room and see if the Thunderbirds will come after the punter. They have elected not to put anybody back on the punt return. So here would be an opportunity to try and block it as the punt will originate from the end zone. 20-0. Bell West leads Burke. Bell West number 1 in the state, but they're the number 4 seed. Burke is the number 4 team in the state, the number 5 seed. If you followed all of that, we'll have a quiz at halftime.
We got here, tough situation for the Bulldogs because you know that Bellevue West is cooking something up over there, right? They're trying to find a crease, trying to do something, and Bellevue West has no mercy. They realize they're up 20-0. They want to be up 27-0 by halftime. They do not want to just coast. They want to score a touchdown.
Lampkin is the punter for Burke. 31 punts this year for 34 yards on average.
Snap infraction. Half the distance to the goal.
So for the second time tonight, we've had a snap infraction prior to a punt.
That just backs them up. You got to be really careful if you're the punter not to step out of bounds.
And Lampkin with his heels on the boundary sends this punt away, and they will mark it. Still going, and finally stopping. And Bellevue West will take over at the 24-yard line, up 20-0.
And giving them the ball at the 24-yard line is not a recipe for success. You know, they showed no problem going 87 yards. 24 yards is nothing to these guys.
Glance coming off his first interception that he's thrown this year. 30 touchdown passes, 1 interception. And a handoff. Glance just stood there. He held the ball out for Ducker, and the pressure for Burke. Tackle for loss all the way back to the 29-yard line.
Yeah, this is how they're gonna stop these guys. They're shooting gaps. They're sending guys from the second level. The watch right here, you see a couple guys come up, 1-9 off the edge. You know, they're just sending guys, and they guessed right there, and it worked out for them.
And here's Ducker into the open field, and he gets back the yards that were previously lost and more, all the way down to the 16-yard line.
He's such a great high school running back. I mean, he's so low to the ground. He's very fluid. He has great vision. I mean, he is a great running back, and you're seeing it tonight.
One of the best ever in the state of Nebraska, and they had a pretty good one here a couple of years ago. Fumble as Glance, spinning for extra yardage, lost the ball, but it is recovered by one of his offensive linemen who raced in and Caden Lynn was able to fall on top of it. The championship season in 2016 for Bellevue West, they had Jalen Bradley, who was one of the best running backs in the state of Nebraska. Ducker right in that category.
Yeah, it looks like right there they wanted to take away the running back, so they got, and he just was fighting for extra yards. Sometimes you gotta, when you're in traffic, you gotta learn to put 2 hands on the ball.
Under a minute to go, Wildcat for Ducker runs straight ahead, gets the first down on 4th and short. Bellevue West has 1 timeout remaining. There's Micah Riley, sophomore tight end. Glance, empty backfield. Rolls out, heaves it towards the end zone for Ducker. He's got it. He's got the feet down. He's got another touchdown. His 3rd of the night, 102nd in his career.
Wow, you know, to see a running back who's as skilled as he is be able to go out and catch the ball like that, that's pretty amazing. That's very reminiscent of some of these high-level NFL running backs. Not many running backs who are at the high school level can catch the ball like that. That was very special.
Short field, 2 scores. You know, 80 plus 2 scores. They can do it all.
Well, and the impressive thing is that they're a team that's good enough to run the hurry-up offense. At this level in high school, most teams struggle to do that. They did it just fine.
Jurado's PAT is up, and it is good. It is 27-0 in favor of Bellevue West as Glance hooks up with Ducker. And Ducker is in a familiar spot once again. The majority of them in the purple-shaded end zone here in Bellevue. 102 career touchdowns, his 3rd of the night. Let's get a look at it once again.
Yeah, they just put him out there, and they said, you know what, go out there and get open. And the quarterback gets in a little bit of trouble and almost throws it away. He throws it almost out of bounds, and he runs down there and underneath it and catches it. That's very special right there to see a running back make that kind of play.
The Jay Ducker touchdown countdown as he inches closer to the state record. He celebrates with his quarterback, Nate Glance. This time last year was at Millard West. And interesting, Bellevue West wins tonight. Millard West wins tonight. That's a semifinal match next Friday at Buell Stadium.
Yeah, it's just been everything that could have gone wrong for Burke in this first half has kind of gone wrong for them. Even when they got opportunities, they've kind of squandered them. Penalties. They're not out of it by any means. 27-0, of course, is a tough mountain to climb, but they have to somehow go back and regroup. Look for Lamanji to get these guys motivated to come out and play a better half, if not just for pride. You know, these are the defending champs. They can't go out like this to get ran out of the stadium. They look for them to come out and play a lot harder.
That's how things have changed from when you played, Chris, at Omaha South.
Or even in the NFL.
They got an iPad on the sidelines, and Nate Glance's he's looking at his touchdown pass to Jay Ducker. Matter of fact, I think he has our vantage point on your view. Now he strolls through the last couple of plays.
That's amazing. Even when I was in the NFL, we only have pictures, right? So to see them have an iPad on the sidelines and be able to watch it, that's unbelievable.
So Burke with 21 seconds to go. See what they elect to do. Might be real conservative here and get into the locker room.
Yeah, you just don't know. I mean, who knows what they're going to do here, but what a half. A tale of 2 different sides of the football. The yellow team really has played a great half. Very few mistakes, even if it's not all that inspiring. They haven't done, you know, a couple big plays, but it hasn't been like they had a lot of effort out here tonight. They're not getting challenged too much, and Burke just continues to shoot themselves in the foot, haven't been able to get any traction.
And we'll see in the second half if Jalen Roussel is able to return. What a year for running backs in the Metro. As Clark with the carry. Will be the final play of the first half. And it will be as Paul Lamanji is headed off to the locker room. What an impressive half by the #1 team in the state of Nebraska in Class A. Bellevue West 27, Burke nothing. Coming up at halftime, we'll chat with the principal of Bellevue West, Kevin Rolfs. Chris and I will take a look back at the highlights from this explosive first half for the T-Birds. We've got stats, and we've got a look at the Class A bracket. 27-0, Bellevue West leads Burke at the break. This is Game Time on Your View.
Smart is selling your home with FSBO Homes. The Home Transparency Report helped me sell my home faster and at a fair price. Buyers walked through my home online using the 3D virtual open house. So I had fewer private showings. And I accepted an offer with the tap of a finger. Let's make this sale official.
All the service without the commission. It's the smart way to buy and sell a home.
Not getting into college with this score.
I'm that score. The reason they're stressed, he's not getting into her dream college.
Another practice test.
Doesn't matter. I'll never be ready.
Ready? It's only the biggest test of her life.
When test prep stress takes over, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results.
I got it.
Reject the stress. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
You're watching Game Time on Your View. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out yourview.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow-smoked Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Cox Communications, the largest private telecom company in America, has launched Grand Stories. This initiative brings grandparents closer to their grandkids by teaching them how to make stronger connections with the people in their lives who matter most. Broadband connectivity is the most powerful when it creates a human connection, and as you're about to see, Cox is helping to bridge that generational communication gap by inspiring grandparents to explore where their grandkids live on social media. For more information on Grand Stories, visit cox.com/Grand Stories. Here's more on this great Cox initiative.
Since her grandma's been gone, we don't see that much of each other.
I want Cody to know who I am.
할머니 나 이거 언제 배워줘 그러면서 내가 손녀를 볼 때마다 핸드폰만 보고 있어요. 손녀는
Select profile picture.
Press this. Have you taken a selfie before?
No.
Oh, okay.
손이 떨리고 마음이 떨려서 아무것도 안 돼.
I want to teach you how to do the video part.
Okay.
You're going to click on that.
Now I start.
Oh, well, I got half of me.
Good?
Yeah.
Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Cody.
Cut in.
I worked up enough nerve to ask her if she would dance with me.
오늘은 김치를 만들 겁니다.
This is my Mahjong class that I'm doing today.
I love you so much. I can't wait to talk to you and hear from you soon.
Wow. Love it.
When it's your business, owner is just one of your jobs. Cox Business Security Solutions can help with a customized surveillance and detection system that lets you adjust the temperature while you're picking up flowers for the cafe. An extra set of eyes confirming tonight's special arrived so you can add it to the board. It's the promise of a good night's sleep, reassuring you everything is in its place and will still be there for whatever your job may be tomorrow.
Shop America's best-selling truck at Woodhouse Ford. With over 300 F-Series trucks available to choose from, including class-leading capability and driver assist technologies. Come see why people are shopping Woodhouse first. Start and end your journey with us. Visit us at one of our 3 locations in Blair, Omaha, and Plattsmouth, or online at woodhouse.com. Built Ford proud. Woodhouse, the official auto dealer of Nebraska Athletics.
Oh, not getting into college with this score.
I'm that score. The reason they're stressed, he's not getting into her dream college.
Another practice test.
Doesn't matter. I'll never be ready.
Ready? It's only the biggest test of her life.
When test prep stress takes over, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results.
I got it.
Reject the stress. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow-smoked Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Tonight's Game Time Player of the Game is brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit yourview.com.
Welcome back. Halftime of the quarterfinal Friday night. Bellevue West leads Omaha Burke by a score of 27-0. I'm Gary Sharp, joined by the principal at Bellevue West, Kevin Rolfs. We were just talking, you've been the principal since '97, but probably when you got here, you're here for a couple of years as the athletic director, then maybe moved to warmer climates, but you stayed. Why?
Well, we've just got a great community, a great school system. I really wanted to move south. And after those first 3 years, just fell in love with the place, and then I got married. We've got a couple girls now, and so I'm here for the duration. I'm here till I wrap it up.
So how did you become the principal?
The principal retired. I was encouraged to apply, and it was one of a group of candidates, and I don't know what possessed them to choose me, but I'm glad they did because it's been a great run.
There's been a lot happening in this community since 1994 when you came here as the athletic director, in '97 since the principal. What has the growth of Bellevue, the city, been like to the school?
Well, the first year I was here in '94 was the year Kennedy Freeway opened. And so before that, to get to Omaha, you had to go up 13th Street by the zoo. It was hard to get here, hard to get out. And then in October that year, Kennedy Freeway opened, and it's just blossomed since then. The community has just grown. Our student population, we were about 900 in the high school at that time, and now we've been 1,1700 ever since. The community has grown. Down on our corner, well, there was nothing when I got here. Now we've got all business down there, and so it's just been a great growth.
We've seen the football program under Coach Huffman develop into a great extracurricular program. What are some of the other things you're excited about in the hallways of Bellevue West?
Well, we do have great extracurricular programs. This Sunday, our choir is singing with the symphony at the Holland Center. We just finished with our junior community-based learning projects this week, and we had a big community-based learning fair when we had over 100 projects that were there to better the community. A year ago, we got into a National Math and Science Initiative grant, which has allowed us to really develop our AP program. So in the last year, we've doubled our AP numbers and doubled the number of kids passing the AP test. We've added a lot of certifications for our students. Our goal right now really is we want every senior to graduate with more than a high school diploma. So between OSHA certification, Adobe, Microsoft certifications, students going straight to the workforce can leave with something, and then our AP and dual enrollment courses have grown. So we're at about 50% right now of our students are graduating with more than that diploma, and we want to get that number up to 100%.
Kevin, congratulations. Thanks for stopping by.
All right, thank you for having me.
It's Kevin Rolfs, the principal here at Bellevue West. We're at halftime where Bellevue West leads Omaha Burke 27-0. We'll take a look at the stats and the highlights after this.
Another bad grade?
I miss little grades. And the square root of her biggest problem. I studied all week. I miss poor study skills. I stress beyond her comprehension.
We can't keep having this conversation.
It's not like I want to fail.
When low grades follow you home, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results. Keep low grades out. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
With 2019 winding down, step into Woodhouse Nissan today to see the newest 2020 Nissans, where you will find the 2020 Nissan Rogue now available with motion-activated liftgate. Rogue can now help you drive smoother with intelligent all-wheel drive, helping to adapt to changing road conditions. Stay connected in your road with Nissan Intelligent Mobility, technology that helps you drive with greater awareness. Nissan Intelligent Mobility is the future of driving. Take home a Nissan today from Woodhouse Nissan and visit one of our 2 convenient locations in Bellevue and at 144th and Giles at Woodhouse Place. This is Woodhouse Nissan.
Where Bellevue West leads Omaha Burke 27-0. The winner moves on to the semifinals. They will take on either Millard West or Elkhorn South next week. Let's take a look at how Bellevue West, this explosive offense, got to 4 scores, Chris.
Yeah, you know, 4 scores here tonight. Drucker is just getting after it tonight, scoring touchdowns. Trying to say he wants to set the record tonight, apparently. I don't know if it's possible, but they're doing such a great job. Then they get their ball to their other big playmaker. Holy cow, is that guy fast? Down the sidelines, a big, fast guy, Xavier Betts. Oh, man. Took off and no one's even close to him. It's just a mismatch out there, kind of all over. And then, of course, you think they're kind of stuck there. They get the ball back. Gets out. There's a big play right here. This is Burke taking advantage of, not so great opportunities and bringing it all the way back down. Of course, Burke does not get points after this long kickoff return. Great play, individual play there, just, not making plays down the field.
And this was a key moment. This was Xavier Watts, one of the rare drops and then a missed field goal. And Burke had an opportunity, and when that goes awry, Bellevue West makes him pay with a great play call out of the backfield. Jay Ducker with his 2nd touchdown of the night from Nate Glantz. At that point, it was 20-0. This would make it 27-0.
Yeah, Bellevue West big-time playmakers are making more plays than the playmakers on Burke. You had Watts out there who had a chance to make some plays, didn't make the plays, and that's the difference in the game.
290 yards of total offense, part of an offense that averages 54 points a game, and that defense is real. They have shut out the Bulldogs here in the first half. They have shut out now the last 2 full opponents and a half of quarterfinal football. And Reed Burke has had very little time to throw it. Only 2 passing yards, just 69 total for Burke here in the first 24 minutes.
And Burke's no slouch. I mean, this guy, he's number 2 in the state in passing. And they've set him to 2 yards this half. That's unbelievable.
27-0. Third quarter kickoff is coming up next. It's game time on Your View.
When it's your business, owner is just one of your jobs. Cox Business Security Solutions can help with a customized surveillance and detection system that lets you adjust the temperature while you're picking up flowers for the cafe. An extra set of eyes confirming tonight's special arrived so you can add it to the board. It's the promise of a good night's sleep, reassuring you everything is in its place and will still be there for whatever your job may be tomorrow.
Shop Woodhouse Hyundai for your next SUV. From test drive to purchase, the process is simple and transparent with the Hyundai Shopper Assurance Program. Transparent pricing, streamlined purchase, 3-day worry-free exchange, and test drives that come to you. Like the all-new 2020 Hyundai Palisade. The Palisade features spacious third-row seating with enough room for you and your family. Shop online at WoodhouseHyundaiOfOmaha.com or visit our dealership at 144th and Giles in Omaha at Woodhouse Place.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow smoke Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Here's to the good at heart. They're the invested, the encouraging, the night owls, the optimists. To the people who need them, they're specialists. To us, they're family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
Tonight's Game Time defensive play of the game is brought to you by Cox Business. Always know what's going on with detection and surveillance products that protect your bottom line and help your business stay ahead of the unexpected.
Xavier Betts with an 87-yard touchdown. Hello, Mike Huffman. And Jay Ducker with another score, 102 in his career. He's got a hat trick tonight, 27-0. We near the start of the third quarter. Quarterfinal Friday, we go from 8-4. Millard South has already won over Grand Island. They will play the winner of Omaha Westside Lincoln Southeast. That might be the surprise of the night, Chris Bober. The Warriors are up 27-0 against Southeast, who they lost to in week number 2. Millard West already off to a quick start at Buell Stadium, 14-0 on Elkhorn South. The winner of this game will take on Millard West next week. That would be a matchup between the number 1 ranked team and the number 2 ranked team. Bellevue West being in the top slot as they have been for the majority of the season. There's Chris Bober. I'm Gary Sharp. This is a look at how the bracket shapes up. Again, Millard West and Elkhorn South. Millard West, who handed Burke their only loss of the season. They would host next week. And then the bottom part of the bracket, Millard South is already to the semifinals. And they will host either Westside or Southeast. So right now, we could have a doubleheader next Friday at Buell Stadium.
And it looks a little confusing here because they're showing the state rankings, not the playoff bracket. So actually, you know, and you heard Huffman, he made a comment. I checked the Twitter feed. He made a comment about how he was hearing the chatter that they did not play a tough schedule. It sounds like he challenged his team to shut this team out. So far, they've come through, and I guarantee you they're not going to take their foot off the gas in the second half.
Yeah, they are the number 1 ranked team, but they actually are the number 5 seed. Or the 4 seed. Burke is the 5 seed, I beg your pardon. So in the playoffs, the higher seed always hosts. It used to not be that way. It was really confusing. But if you are the higher seed, you host. That's why Bellevue West is number 4 seed, hosting the number 5 seed Omaha Burke. But they would be on the road in the semifinals next week if they hold on to their 27-point lead. Burke will begin the second half with the football. You're going to look at Jay Ducker on the right side of your screen. Xavier Watts on the left side. Xavier Watts headed to Notre Dame. He's from a great family. His father, Jeff, was a 3-sport athlete at Bellevue East. the short kickoff and a fair catch, and fairly good field position for Omaha Burke, who has been without their top running back since early on in the game. Jalen Roussel, back-to-back years over 1,000 yards rushing, injured his ankle, did not play from the middle of the first quarter on, but to begin the second half, he is in the backfield right there to the left of the quarterback, Reed Burke.
Yeah, I think Lamonji's going to challenge Xavier Watts. If you're so special of a player, go out and make some plays for us. You know, he's missed a couple tonight. Let's see if he can make some plays for the Bulldogs.
Reed Burke only 2 yards passing. He'll hand it off to Jalen Roussel, trying to find room behind that offensive line. Kind of gets mucked up at the line of scrimmage with the big guys up front for Bellevue West. TJ Griffin, who's 320 pounds. David Shannon in there. Jalen Roussel, the heavily taped ankle.
Yeah, you can see the difference. I mean, you can't really tell from that play, but you can see the Bellevue West defense, which really does not have a flaw. They're solid up front, in the middle, and on the back end.
Maybe a pickup of a yard. Burke will put it up. His pass is short.
That one did not come out right. You know, this could be a function of coming out. It's a little chilly down there on the field, coming out, gripping these cold footballs, but he also had a guy in his face where he couldn't really follow through. So not up to a great start here with a 3rd and long.
This is the last thing that Burke wanted to do, is come out of the locker room, get the football, and possibly go 3 and out and give it right back to Bellevue West offense. Burke on 3rd and 9. Pressured, he'll go down. And Jaden Roberts brings down Reed Burke.
Yeah, it's hard to hold the football this long. So they're matched up out there trying to get open against a lot of skilled players, and it's just too much time. You give any good defender, good D lineman that much time, they're going to get to the quarterback. So tough sledding out there, couldn't get guys open, and once again, we got a 3 and out.
The pipeline of Bellevue West. Roberts is only a sophomore. Starts at the will linebacker spot. That's his 5th sack. Lampkin's punt will be down to the 46-yard line.
Yeah, believe it or not, Bellevue West is young. They're playing a lot of sophomores. Now, they have some good seniors too, but it isn't as if they're going to kind of go out and do really good this year and then fall off. I feel like Burke kind of had that happen to him a little bit this year. They did graduate a lot of guys last year, some really good players who ended up going to play for some big programs, and then left a few holes on their team. Bellevue West I don't think it's going to have that problem. They got a lot of young guys playing.
Omaha Burke last year in their state championship season, in which they went 13-0, they had 5 All-Staters. 2 of the players that Chris alluded to, Nick Henrich and Chris Hickman, both at Nebraska, redshirting this year. But they are important parts of the future of Nebraska football. And Jay Ducker carries it out to midfield. Ducker with 3 touchdowns tonight, 102 in his career. He is over 5,000 yards rushing. Seems like Jay Ducker has been at Bellevue West for a long time. He stepped right in when Jalen Bradley graduated.
That's how you get 100 touchdowns. You play a lot of games.
Again, this is a Bellevue West offense that now, this year, has scored 569 points. And here's the Nebraska recruit, Xavier Betts, with a strong catch before he was bottled up. Xavier Betts, what an offseason he had when his attention started to pick up. He committed to Nebraska last spring, but he was at the Nike opening camp. Just a freak athlete, 4.59 40, 38+ vertical jump. He's a 4-star recruit. In Rivals, he's 52nd overall. He's the #7 wide receiver in the country. In the 24/7 rankings, he's 106th overall. And an injured player is down. 9:38 to go in the 3rd quarter. Bellevue West leads Burke. It's game time on Your View.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Tonight, where the #1 ranked T-Birds making their debut on Game Time. They lead 27-0. Along with Chris Bober, I'm Gary Sharp, our statistician, as he's been all season long, Frank Ryan, and our entire Game Time crew. The injured player, the talented linebacker for Burke, Austin Doherty, and with him out of the lineup, Bellevue West gets going downhill again, and it's Keegan Johnson for a big gain.
Wow, looking right here, what they're going to do is they're actually going to blitz the guy that's covering him, and I'm not sure, but it looks like they ran that and they checked it to hot route. So that the guy covering him cheated down. The quarterback saw it and just flipped it right out to him because the guy that was covering him blitzed, and they had a big play out of it.
Keegan Johnson, only a junior, has been offered by South Dakota State, where his brother is an All-American. And here's Ducker looking for the end zone again. And he breaks free of a tackle, and he carries Bulldogs to the 1-yard line. Oh, he had his sights on 103.
Yeah, you think he's going Wildcat here? I can almost guarantee they're going to put him in there and let him try to score this touchdown. But just another great run, man. He has such great vision, such great balance. Look at him find the hole, and then he accelerates through it. He takes contact. He can probably, there you go, put 2 hands on the ball, big guy, and he forces his way all the way to the 1.
Keeps the legs a-churning, always falling forward. Glance, rolling out, passes it to the end zone and over the head of Nate Sullivan. Sullivan is somebody who was injured at the beginning of the year that doesn't get as much discussion as maybe he should. He's been really good for Mike Huffman. He's headed to South Dakota State. There's a route between the Kennedy Freeway to Interstate 29 to Brookings, South Dakota. There are a lot of Bellevue West alums that are playing for the Nebraska Jacks. Now the Wildcat. Here's the Wildcat, possibly for 103.
Yeah, right there. You know, it wasn't. You knew it was coming. You knew they were going to do that. They feel so confident in this Wildcat. And what I do like there, I think they ran a little trap up the middle. So they're not just trying to stuff it in there. They're very workmanlike in how they will go about their business here. They're not too high. They're not too low. They're trying to focus on execution rather than, you know, making big plays. They're doing a great job. And, you know, we might be watching history here tonight because he only has a couple left to break it.
And a 2-point conversion.
You know, the 2-point conversion now puts us at the running clock, doesn't it? 35 points. And, you know, I actually know some of these coaches at Bellevue West, and they said there's only one game this year that they did not get to a running clock. That was Elkhorn South. So they're playing a Burke Bulldog team that's very good. And they, with the first drive of the second, well, their first drive of the second half, they get to a running clock. That's amazing.
35-0. What a performance by Bellevue West.
Yeah, let's see what happens here on this 2-point conversion. Didn't get a great look. Oh, just Wildcat again. You know, so another de facto touchdown, although it only counts for 2 points. But, you know, gosh, that's actually, I think that was the touchdown right there. But, geez, there's the 2-point conversion. And when things are going your way, they're going your way. For some reason, the long snapper forgot to snap the ball and just kind of rolled it back there. Bellevue West picks it up, runs it in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. You know, I don't think they're trying to do that, obviously, but, you know, when you're good things happen for you.
And Mike Huffman and Nate Glantz. Lots of smiles on the Bellevue West sideline. Again, he's the first true dual-threat quarterback that Mike Huffman has had, and Nate Glantz has first-hour study hall. So, Chris, you know what he does during his first-hour study hall?
He's not sleeping.
He is in the office with Mike Huffman going over the offensive plays.
And you know, you see some, like Millard West quarterback, who is a true dual threat. He's getting the ball every play and making plays all over. They rely on him. They're spreading the ball out so much in this offense that, yes, he's a dual threat, but it's hard to even remember him as a dual threat because they don't have to use him all the time. They're getting the ball to their best players. He just happens to be one of them.
And playing quarterback in this offense, Joe Dolenchek. who was part of the state championship team. He is now the quarterback of Morningside College in Sioux City, and they are #1 in NAIA.
Morningside's got a good program. A lot of kids from Omaha are going up to Morningside. I played against them when they were in the in the Division II at our conference there. They couldn't get much done there, but they went down to NAIA. They're doing really well.
Potential for the biggest pass play of the night, and Aiden Queen dropped the ball. And he's 2nd down and 10. That's the most confidence we've seen Reed Burke throw the ball with that big right arm. Just didn't get helped out by his wide receivers. We saw Xavier Watts drop a pass in the end zone in the first half. And then Queen, that would have been for at least 20. But Burke only has 2 yards passing. Here is Clark cutting to the outside for a pickup of 8, and it'll be 3rd down and short.
Yeah, you know, there are some holes out there. There's plays to be made out there. Burke's just not making them. You look at the middle of the field, how they're playing like a cover 2, cover 4 shell right over the middle linebackers where there's a soft spot in this defense. You saw the receiver wide open, just couldn't make the catch.
Nebraska coach Scott Frost made a visit to Bellevue West and Omaha Burke yesterday. Nebraska's on a bye week. 3rd and short, and Clark has a 1st down. But talking to both coaches, Chris, before the game, they were really excited about the head coach being in their offices, talking football, talking about the plan. And they both almost immediately the same thing, said there's a guy that has a plan and is headed in the right direction. Xavier Betts is headed to Nebraska. You've already got 2 Burke Bulldogs that are in the program. Donovan Jackson, who is a sophomore linebacker, has been offered by Nebraska, as there is a Bellevue West defender that is down. Maybe on a chilly night, a cramping issue.
You know, sometimes when it comes to cramps, these guys go to school all day, and it's cold outside, so they don't have to drink water. You know, you're taught to drink water when it's 100 degrees out and you're going through 2-a-days and you're sweating everything out. But believe it or not, you actually sweat quite a bit in cold weather like this, because you don't even feel the cold. And if you haven't hydrated all day, you do run into cramps.
That's Dr. Bober as Jaden Roberts trots off the field. Because we always think at the beginning of the year when it's so warm and muggy that's when we get a lot of the cramps.
Well, these are kids. They're high school kids. You know, who knows what they're doing during the day? They're out messing around, going to class, and you're not force-feeding them water all day long like you are in the summer.
After a 1st down, Burke's pass is completed, but Houston comes up right away to put the hit on Michael Payne III. I mean, it's 3 levels of this defense that is so good for Bellevue West. They've got size, they've got athleticism, they've got smart football players. You don't get much space.
Yeah, you know, Huffins does such a great... When he came in there, and he's held all these players in this program accountable. They do off-season, they do mandatory off-season lifting, conditioning, and it's showing up here in the playoffs.
Quick burst up the middle, out to midfield. Mike Huffman, who was at Burke, that's where he got his first job. He was involved in the defense, and then he was the head coach at Fort Calhoun before taking the Bellevue West job, and he's now in his 7th year. And he's become this offensive mastermind that is in a continual quest for information and something new on the offense. And he's put together a really strong staff, offensively, defensively, and he's thought about this team and what they can be for a while, as Clark breaks off a couple of tackles, and he's all the way down to the 35-yard line.
Yeah, Burke's got a little fight in him still. But yeah, Huffman, he sees the program from top to bottom, and he works on it. Look at right here. This guy's not going down. This guy, young kid in there playing, you know, getting his opportunities, and he's just making plays. There's not a lot of plays. There's not a lot of space there, but he's making the plays by breaking tackles and just refusing to go down.
That's Tonio Clark, who has gotten the opportunity with the injury to Jalen Roussel. Last year, Bellevue West, they lost in the semifinals to Grand Island. They finished 10-2. They tagged this year unfinished business as Burke's pass is incomplete.
Yeah, you know, they've been so close. They were so close last year, and I think they just weren't quite set up to do it this year. Things are going their way. They got a lot of guys back. They got great players at every position. They got depth. They really don't have many weaknesses.
They've got sophomores. They've got juniors. They've got seniors that are all contributing. That's one of the talented juniors, Jack McDonald. Here comes Payne. And he can't get to the outside. Just the pursuit. You got to be able to hold your block, get to the outside, because those defensive backs and those outside linebackers are so fast. So I really would set up quite a matchup next week between Bellevue West and Millard West. Very physical game, but Millard West, very talented offensively, especially with a couple of field stretching wide receivers. 3rd down and 8 as the drive continues for the Bulldogs. Running clock with Bellevue West up 35-0. Here in the 3rd quarter, they were up 27-0 at the break. And the pass is completed. It'll be short of the 1st down.
I think these are the kind of plays that we expected to see all game long. Burke it has a challenge. They're not as talented as Bellevue West. They have to make plays in the little creases of when they can. So these little dink and dunk plays that guys make extra effort and get a few yards, we expected to see this all game long. They're finally coming out in the 3rd quarter and playing the kind of football we expect.
35-0 in Lincoln. West Side leads Southeast. 35-0 here.
Bellevue West, their first time out of the half.
On 4th down and 2. T-Birds take a timeout. It's game time on Your View.
Shop the Black Friday sales event at Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram and Blair. Come in and see some of the best deals of the year on our Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram inventory, like the all-new Jeep Gladiator, 100% Jeep and 100% truck. The Gladiator is one of a kind. Or shop our all-new Ram inventory with uncompromising luxury. It's the most luxurious truck in its class. Check out all of our inventory and offers at WoodhouseChryslerJeepDodge.com or come out and see us for a test drive just 15 miles outside of Omaha. This is Woodhouse.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow smoke Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Here at Fiman Field. 35-0, Bellevue West leads Omaha Burke. We are set for an all-Omaha Class A final. Last year, Burke won their first title. They defeated Grand Island. Now, after the timeout, they face a 4th down and 2. Bellevue West sideline, exerting their fans to make some noise. And Clark will... nope.
I think he's short. They made it.
Jeremy Gilfrey, our referee, kind of looked right away, and he thought about it, and then he looks closer. Did Clark get there? No. Bellevue West stops Burke. They turn it over on downs, and here comes the most prolific offense in the state back out there, up 35-0. What
you can't tell me
they do.
You can't tell me that this isn't important than this shutout. Burke puts all their guys in the box. They're just trying to, man it up and just push it forward. And there's just too many guys there. But, it seems like Bellevue West, in that sense, they really want to protect the shutout. So they come back across and made a play. That's a big step for them to not take a step back, not get complacent, to preserve the shutout. I think that they want to do that.
And they throw the football out to Sullivan.
There's a guy that, hasn't, he's very, very talented. He was hurt. Obviously, I played with his dad. He's kind of told me that, he's back 100%, just hasn't had a lot of time to get back. But there's a guy who could be a feature receiver on a lot of teams, and he's the 2nd or 3rd receiver on this team. That's pretty impressive.
Glance to Betts, and he's able to hold on to it. Genuflex out to the 40-yard line. Xavier Betts even had some time to play a little JV baseball. He's got some work to do in the classroom. He has done his work on the field. He's still growing, still learning to block, run the right routes, recognize defenses. But he's got a bright future in Lincoln, Nebraska, wearing the scarlet and cream.
Man, I've heard he's stepped it up in the classroom a little bit. Got some good help. A lot of people who care about him, and he's working hard. He's working hard to get everything right there.
buoyed by Nate Glantz in his transfer from Millard West. And it looks like to get to the state final, he would have to beat his old mates next week. West Side is shutting out Southeast 35-0 in the fourth quarter. Here it's 35-0. Millard West is up 14-0 on Elkhorn South. And there goes that man, Keegan Johnson, who is only a junior, and he races into Burke territory on the little pitch and catch. Well, Keegan Johnson can do it all in offense and defense. As we near the end of the third quarter, we've been on a running clock since Bellevue West scored the lone touchdown of this frame. And we will head to the final quarter. And Bellevue West is 12 minutes away from advancing to the state semifinals. Up 35-0 on Burke. It's game time on Your View.
Another bad grade?
I miss little grades. And the square root of her biggest problem. I studied all week. I miss poor study skills. I stress beyond her comprehension.
We can't keep having this conversation.
It's not like I want to fail.
When low grades follow you home, Huntington can help. Huntington Learning Center helps students of all ages build the skills, confidence, and motivation to improve grades and test scores through personalized attention and proven results. Keep low grades out. Call 1-800-CAN-LEARN now.
When it's your business, owner is just one of your jobs. Cox Business Security Solutions can help with a customized surveillance and detection system that lets you adjust the temperature while you're picking up flowers for the cafe. An extra set of eyes confirming tonight's special arrived so you can add it to the board. It's the promise of a good night's sleep, reassuring you everything is in its place and will still be there for whatever your job may be tomorrow.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow-smoked Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Goes Ducker. With 103 career touchdowns, he's inching closer to the state record as the clock continues to run and the T-Birds are up by 5 scores. They've gone to halftime in the game that the winner of this contest will meet. Millard West leads Elkhorn South 21-14. Elkhorn South bounced back after trailing by 2 scores. Now run by Ducker, well over 100 yards. Glantz to put it up. And his pass is caught out near the near sideline to Nate Sullivan.
You know, I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with this Bellevue West offensive line. And, you know, there's just 5 of them in there. They don't play a tight end. They don't have a fullback. And Burke is loading up the box, and they are still pushing them around. They're still running just inside zone right at him. Drucker is just making plays, and it's just 5 linemen versus 6 or 7 of the Burke Bulldogs, and they're still making hay. They're doing a great job up front.
There's Xavier Betts, the Nebraska recruit. As Glantz looks his way, Burke shows pressure. Ducker headed to the end zone again. Oh, it's a purple paradise for Ducker.
Yeah, they brought guys. You know, they showed pressure, so they were up in the box. They were right there. They just did not make the play. And, you know, just a matter of him just hitting the hole so quickly. And he's through to that second level. And once he gets there, those guys in the backfield, they can't stop him. And right there, I don't even think he got touched on that play. They went right up the middle. This is the definition of wearing guys down.
On that touchdown, he ties Calvin Strong with 104 career touchdowns. It's the Jay Ducker Show, and it's Bellevue West headed towards a matchup in the state semifinals.
Tonight's Game Time defensive play of the game is brought to you by Cox Business Security. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit yourview.com.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild is taking orders for their slow smoke Thanksgiving turkeys and hams. A complete meal is also available for your Thanksgiving feast. Order soon. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Hog Wild custom catering for any size event. Check out our catering menu at gohogwild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
You're watching Game Time on YourView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out yourview.com.
Be sure to check out YourView's recruiting podcast called Over the Middle, hosted by recruiting guru Jeremy Crabtree. Each week, Jeremy will take you inside the huddle, interviewing players, coaches, and industry insiders in and around college football. All that and more each week on the Over the Middle podcast. Check it out at yourview.com. You may have heard Jay Ducker's name mentioned by Jeremy Crabtree. May have mentioned Xavier Watts, Xavier Betts. Lots of talent we've seen on Game Time, but what a night by Jay Ducker. 5 touchdowns, 104 in his career. He is tied for second all-time in the state of Nebraska. With Calvin Strong, who had a stellar career at Omaha North, and Bellevue West trying to shut out their third straight opponent. There is Jay Ducker. Chris, I know your first time joining us this year. You would like to have a big debate about who the player of the game is. Well, that guy right there probably is just going to go ahead and we're going to give it to him.
Yeah, when you score that many, he scored that many touchdowns. The guy's unstoppable. It's just amazing how well they are working up front, how well he's playing, and they just can't do anything to stop him.
You saw in that picture, you had Jay Ducker, you had Keegan Johnson, Nate Sullivan, Nate Glantz.
Dead ball, false start. Number 67 on the offense. Repeat, first down.
Yeah, you know, these Bellevue West Thunderbirds, they're scary good. I mean, they're so stacked, you can't even believe how much talent they have out there. It's a credit to their coaching staff that they do play so disciplined, that they do stay within their system, because a lot of times you get this much talent and they kind of do their own thing. And that's a challenge for a coach. But these guys are in a system, they do very well.
2016, they defeated Omaha North 43-6 in the final. Now they have their sights set on going back in 2019. They'll play the winner of Millard West and Elkhorn South. They are at halftime at Buell Stadium, where Millard West leads Elkhorn South 21-14. If Millard West wins, it'll be at Buell Stadium in Millard. If Elkhorn South wins, it'll be right here to go to Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Running clock with Bellevue West up 42-0, and Clark carries it once again. And you wonder a little bit, not as deep on the skill position as Burke was last year with their state championship team, but once Jalen Roussel went out of the game, it has really limited what Burke can do, and that has allowed Bellevue West to load the box. Now it's 3rd down and 8. And as you get a look at that big defensive line, T.J. Griffin, 325 pounds. And not only have we seen over the last couple of years, not only has Bellevue West, Chris, had big linemen, but they move laterally so well.
Yeah, they're so athletic, and that's what's scary about them. Sometimes you have kind of big fat guys that do a couple things. Oh no, there we go. Another drop ball. These opportunities that Burke just continues to just kind of let slip through their fingers.
Queen could not grasp that football.
You know, these are the kind of plays that if you know, obviously it's a lot too late right now, but you know, it's the story of their night. And while last year they were stacked, they had everything kind of go for them, this year they've kind of hit a wall here. And I think it's typical of anyone who's playing Bellevue West, and might be playing Bellevue West this year because they're that good. But these are some self-inflicted wounds that are really keeping them out of this game.
Lampkin to punt once again. Bellevue West, after Gerardo calls the fair catch, will take over at the 33-yard line. Bellevue West 10-0. The closest game was against Elkhorn South, where they won 36-13. They're trying to post their 6th shutout of the season. It would be their 3rd in a row. They have allowed a touchdown or less in 10 of their 11 games. And now up 42-0. Mike Huffman will bring in Evan Cleveland, who was in a battle up until the start of the season with Glantz to try and win the job. And this is where depth in the future is built. Bellevue West, in all but one game this year, they've had a running clock, so they've been able to play quite a few players.
You can't discount that. I mean, that is so valuable because at some point, these guys that are out here right now, these are the young guys, right? Maybe the guys you don't get to see the field a whole lot, but they get some experience, and if they get called up and get needed in an important game, they've at least been on the field, they have experience. You're Huffman right there. Man, you got to give him so much credit. I mean, again, it's top to bottom. He just doesn't have the best guys. He develops the best guys. He keeps them around. This cohesiveness that they have out here, that's all on the head coach. And he has really taken this program to a new level.
And Cooper is bottled up in the backfield. Bulldog defender is down after the tackle for loss. This gives us an opportunity to say thank you to all of you that have joined us all season long on Cox Channel 13, HD 1013 here in the Omaha metro area, or online at yourview.com. We hope you've enjoyed all of my partner John Schreiner's stories this year, a little insight into the student athletes that we cover on a Friday night basis throughout the season in the fall. For everybody that's interacted with us on our social media, thank you very much for letting us know where you are watching high school football from the Omaha metro area throughout the 2019 season. Frank Ryan has been our statistician all season long. My partner John Schreiner is away tonight, so we were able to bring in Chris Bober, who is a better lineman than John Schreiner is.
Better looking too, right? We'll go ahead and say that while he's not here, and I know John really well, but it's great. I love high school football. I love talking about football, and it's just so great to come out and watch these athletes. I love the game, and I love being around it. You know, my son's playing high school football, so I don't have the chance to get in the booth as much anymore, but thanks for having me, guys. This is a blast.
Cleveland with a pass. It is caught by Caden Helms, and he does a little shimmy, and he's all the way out to the 48-yard line. That's another young skill player for the T-Birds. Helms is a sophomore. Is a Burke defender who was trailing, trying to make the tackle, is down on the Bellevue West sideline. Also, big thanks to our friends from Niles Media. They attend to the fallen Burke player. We'll take a quick break. Come back with more from Bellevue. It's game time on Your View.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Tonight's Game Time defensive play of the game is brought to you by Cox Business Security. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit yourview.com.
His team is up 42-0. There were a lot of big plays tonight, but here was the one that we decided is the play of the game, presented by Cox.
it's just one of his touchdowns. How do you pick which one was the best play? He just scores a lot of touchdowns. Player of the game, play of the game, he's got it all.
That is Jay Ducker, 5 touchdowns tonight as we hit the 5-minute mark to go in this one. We had a running clock since about midway through the third quarter as Cooper bulls his way down to the 44-yard line. Again, a big thanks to our friends from Niles Media that have been with us all season long. TJ McGinnis, Katie Keating. We welcome back Anthony Giassi tonight. But Katie has been such a big help. Chris Huey, Randy Carson as well. Our friends from Iowa Western, Don Kohler, all made these Friday nights special once again here on Game Time. And Bellevue West is enjoying one of those special seasons that Burke enjoyed last year. Unbeaten to the state championship. And this year it is Bellevue West up 42-0 as Cooper carries once again, and this will be for a first down.
You know, and I like that they have Ducker out of the game. You know what I mean? They could have easily kept him in there trying to break this record tonight, but there's no reason to rub it in Burke's face. It's hard enough being the defending champ and going out like this, but you know, you keep your guy fresh for next week, try to avoid some injuries, let your young guys play. This is the right thing to do. And again, you're developing depth on this team because maybe they might need some of these guys next week or the week after or next year. And that's why they keep on rolling and winning games every year as they continue to look towards the future, not just now.
Here's Cooper with some space, cuts back once, twice, headed to the end zone. Can he get to the corner? Wyatt Cooper slows up, steps back again, and he's into the end zone. Cooper was going left, he was going right, he stopped, he started, he stuttered, and then he's into the end zone, and it's 48-0 Bellevue West.
And here's a guy that, you know, you haven't seen a ton of. He's a senior, though, right? And he's earned the playing time. He's out there. Probably doesn't play a lot during with the ones, but he's getting out there with the twos. And to come up with a touchdown, I guarantee all those guys on the sidelines that were starting, they're all just as happy as he is. To see a guy like that get in the end zone, that's a big deal for him.
So Chase Anderson is on, put his name in the scorebook. And his PAT is blocked. So it'll remain 48-0 with 3:14 to go in the game. And here's another look at Wyatt Cooper's touchdown.
Yeah, nothing fancy about this. Just handed him the ball without space, and he just finds a hole. And at this point, it's just instincts, right? It's like, hey, how can I get to the end zone? And Burke's doing their best to try to catch up to him. But he takes an angle and, you know, makes a little cut there and just will not be stopped getting to the end zone. Right there, that's a beautiful move right there to feel that pressure and know that he's going to overrun that play.
Bellevue West is going to be 11-0 going to the semifinals against either Millard West or Elkhorn South, and Burke's season will come to an end at 9-2. But it has been now a multiple-year run of solid football from Burke, and you know, with Paul Lamanji at the helm, even without Xavier Watts, Jalen Roussel, they will reload over on 120th and Dodge. And Bellevue West, they're going to be right back again next year. All the juniors and sophomores that are seeing key time. There's Mike Huffman.
Yeah, Coach Lamanji's going to be back. I mean, he'll always have a tough team. This year, come up a little bit short. I know he graduated a bunch of guys, and sometimes you just don't have the horses to run the race. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing. It's pretty amazing. I've seen them play this year. For them to go 8-1 the regular season and do what they did with what they had, that was pretty good. So they're a tough team. They've maxed out what they can get out of this thing, and they just came up, short here in the playoffs.
So with the clock running, Burke will have one more opportunity, and unfortunately tonight ends the career of Xavier Watts on the football field, one of the most dynamic athletes that we have seen in the Omaha area in a while. Basketball, football, and now he'll have a bright future headed to South Bend to play for Notre Dame. It's been a treat to watch X play over his high school career. So many highlight moments.
You know, it's kind of hoping we see some of those tonight. You know, even with the overmatching of
this team, Bellevue West versus Burke, you think Watts will come up with some big plays. He came up a little bit short. I'm excited to see how this translates to the next level. He definitely has the ball skills. He has the athletic ability. I think they're going to probably, get him a little stronger, get him a little bit more explosive, because those programs like that's what they do. But look for him out in the gold helmet out there they're on TV every week. So hopefully in a few years we're seeing him make plays for Notre Dame.
Yeah, great young man, great in the classroom, and great in the community as this ball pops free and recovered by Bellevue West.
Story of the night, right? Everything that could go wrong for Burke tonight has gone wrong. Now, I personally believe that turnovers and mistakes are usually more of the result of either being overmatched or unprepared, not concentrating on holding onto the ball, on knowing the snap count, whatever it might be. But they definitely showed up tonight. The turnovers and penalties and things like that are definitely in favor of Bellevue West, who is obviously the much better team.
We're going to talk to the head coach, Mike Huffman, when this one is over. What do you think he'll go first, Chris? Offense or defense? I'm going to say defense with the third straight shutout. He has taken a lot of pride in their bounce back in defense this year. They are setting all kinds of records. Everybody knows about the offense. Well, I don't know how you're going to score on Bellevue West from here on out. There's still some good teams out there, but boy, they have a plan and they have the athletes to execute it. As we near a minute to go, Bellevue West is headed to the semifinals.
Yeah, I agree. Their defense is unbelievable. I saw a comment on social media at halftime, and that's the first thing he said when they asked him, like, people said we haven't played anyone. They said that our shutouts, they're not real because we played a weaker schedule. And in high school, you don't get to do anything about that. You play who they tell you to play. It's not like college where you can schedule a home and away with Oklahoma or Notre Dame. They got to play who's on their schedule, and they did what they're supposed to. They shut guys down. And let's see if they continue to do it. They did it against Burke, and see what they can do for the rest of the playoffs.
L.J. Richardson pushed out of bounds. And the carry around the left side, and this should bring an end to this one. What a performance from start to finish by Bellevue West. They remain unbeaten. They will advance to the semifinals, either against Millard West or Elkhorn South, as Mike Huffman will walk across the field and shake hands with the Burke head coach, Paul Lamanji. Mike Huffman used to be an assistant at Omaha Burke. Both of those head coaches have a title under their belts, and Bellevue West is in search of another state title. Thorough effort tonight, and a big night for Jay Ducker as he inches closer to a state record for touchdowns. 5 touchdowns for the senior who's headed to Northern Illinois. And 48-0. Bellevue West downs Omaha Burke. Let's take a look at, well, it's no surprise, our player of the game. Brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. It is Jay Ducker.
Yeah, it's amazing that Jay Ducker, look at what he's done tonight. And the 2 other guys in the field that are maybe more talented in the receivers, and Benson, Watts, and Xavier's. There's a ton of talent on this football field tonight, but he really outshined everyone, scored a whole bunch of touchdowns. Probably he's going to break the record next week.
24 carries, 101 yards on the ground, 3 scores into the Purple Paradise via the carry, a couple out of the Wildcat, and 2 receiving touchdowns. We'll get set to talk to his head coach, Mike Huffman, as the Bellevue West Thunderbirds headed to the semifinals as they celebrate with a very cold student section. But they were out in full force here tonight, and what a season it has been. And what another night defensively. 3rd straight shutout is posted by this defense as we get set to talk to the head coach.
Tonight's Game Time Player of the Game is brought to you by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Check out the stories behind the games all season long. Visit yourview.com.
Here's to the do-gooders. They're the early risers. The selfless. The forward thinkers. The brave. There are many ways to describe them. We call them family. CHI Health. Good happens here.
You're watching Game Time on YourView. For more in-depth coverage of the top players around, recruiting updates, behind-the-scenes access, and more, check out yourview.com.
Ring of them all season long. They shut out their third straight opponent. They're headed to the semifinals. They remain unbeaten, 48-0. Jay Ducker with 5 touchdowns. Here's the head coach, Mike Huffman. I know that, you know, you've only been able to play the teams that are in front of you, and the competition gets tougher, but your guys don't miss a beat. Another solid effort tonight. Your initial thoughts on what you saw?
Appreciate that, Gary. You know, we feel like we're a pretty well-rounded team. Offensively, we've been pretty doggone good for multiple years, and most of these kids are 3-year starters. I'm just so proud of our defense. You know, they've been taking the press clippings personal. You know, they listen to the shows, and they want to show people, you only give up 35 points in a season, don't matter who you play. These kids play hard. We have a motto of protect the zero, and to do it tonight against a team as well-coached as Burke and the athletes that they have, so proud of them.
Hey, Coach, Chris Bober here. What's it like having all this talent around? You know, do you have any problems getting the ball to everyone? You know, it seems like everyone out there can score at any point.
It's funny you say that, Chris. It is difficult. Somebody about 3 or 4 weeks ago, man, Coach, you got to be having so much fun. It's actually difficult because we have so many playmakers, and you want the kids to be happy. You know, it ain't Xavier Betts playmaker in purple or Javon Ducker. We have other great players, so we try to spread it around a little bit. It helps when everything is working pretty well, so it's not, you know, that makes it better.
All right, you brought up him. He had a monster game tonight. He's closing in on a state record. He has been such a stalwart to your program over the last few years. Is there anything that happens on a nightly basis that doesn't surprise you what Jay Ducker can do?
You know, he's so cerebral. He's obviously a gifted athlete. You don't score 104 touchdowns without having an exceptional amount of athletic ability, but he's just so doggone smart. You know, we get in that goal line set. I don't even call the play anymore. I call the formation. He surveys it, and he just does his thing. And he's a great kid, too. He's a 3.86 GPA kid. He's an absolute pleasure, and Northern Illinois is getting the gym.
Hey, Huff, we appreciate it. Congratulations on another victory. Good luck next week in the semifinals.
Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you.
That's Mike Huffman, the head coach of Bellevue West. 48-0. T-Birds over the Bulldogs, and a lot of that guy, Chris.
Yeah, the Jay Ducker night, man. With all this talent on the field, he definitely shown everyone that obviously there's a big-time recruit right there showing off what he can do. Just imagine a team like this where they didn't even have to feature these guys. You know, Burke comes out and tries to make some plays. They try to get back into it, and that's the story of their night. A lot of balls slipped through their hands, a lot of opportunities, missed field goals. At that point, Bellevue West just kind of steps on their throat and starts coming downhill. And, you know, again, the quarterback can make some plays, throwing the ball, catching the ball. I'm so impressed with Ducker catching the ball. That's just amazing, and I think all the highlights are going to be of him. It's amazing they can do that. I know they have other guys they can lean on, and, you know, this team is so stacked, and I'm interested to see what they can do against these other teams that are really, really good, too.
Yeah, they're a good team, and you hear the schedule discussion. A team with a chip on their shoulder, that's good. That is awful scary. These numbers are very, very scary for teams that will face Bellevue West down the road. 500 yards of total offense. They put it up, and they were balanced. And then you look to the other side where they pitched their third straight shutout. There was just not much Burke could do tonight, from Reed Burke, the quarterback, to Jalen Russello to Xavier Watts.
When you got Xavier out there and you limit the passing yards to 19 passing yards by a very good Burke team, that's dominance right there.
What a night tonight for Bellevue West. They're on to the semifinals with a 48-0 victory. Jay Ducker with 5 touchdowns. He's got 104 in his career. He is closing in on the all-time record. As a great picture there, Nate Glantz, Xavier Watts, Jerome Houston, Nate Sullivan, and Jay Ducker. What a great night for Bellevue West as they move on, and what a great season of Game Time high school football. Big thanks to my partner tonight, Chris Bober, John Schreiner, Frank Ryan, our statistician, Katie Keating back in the truck, and the entire Game Time crew. What a year it's been. We hope you enjoyed it. Bellevue West is off to the semifinals after a 48-0 victory. I'm Gary Sharp. Good night, everybody.
Game time high school football action on your view is presented by Iowa Western. The world is waiting. Connect online with Iowa Western at iwcc.edu or call 800-432-5852. High school football fans, for more behind-the-scenes coverage, podcasts, interviews, and more, be sure to check out yourview.com all fall long. Okay, player of the game.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
Shop Woodhouse Hyundai for your next SUV. From test drive to purchase, the process is simple and transparent with the Hyundai Shopper Assurance Program. Transparent pricing, streamlined purchase, 3-day worry-free exchange, and test drives that come to you. Like the all-new 2020 Hyundai Palisade. The Palisade features spacious third-row seating with enough room for you and your family. Shop online at WoodhouseHyundaiOfOmaha.com or visit our dealership at 144th and Giles in Omaha at Woodhouse Place.
Okay, honey, let's go.
Oh, wait, my mat.
Oh my God, we're gonna be late.
It'll just take 2 seconds.
Have you seen my wallet?
Is it in your pocket?
I don't have pockets in these leggings, Lindsay.
Do you need it? You know they don't let us in the class even if we are 1 minute late.
It's here. It's in my bag. Everyone, calm down.
Yeah. Okay.
Did we turn it off?
Oh God, should we